So, good evening. We are live, and we're 2 men down at the moment. I don't know where Claude's here. Well, Claude's here. The voice of reason is in the building. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. You all right? Good.
Yeah, I'm good, man.
I can't wait to get back next week to proper football, man. Not this crap that I'm watching.
Do you know what? I watched England last night, and I put a tweet out saying if it ain't 10-0, sack him. Yeah? I'm sorry. It's shocking, isn't it? They are officially ranked the worst team in the world, national team in the world, and we only just managed to bag 5.
Yeah, but see, I didn't watch that one. I was watching Italy versus Northern Ireland. But watching England watching games like that are a waste of time because they're not even trying to play. They're not even trying the other team. I mean, to do anything. It's like watching a training session.
Yeah, it's mad. It's actually mad. And the thing is, like, I said this to the father-in-law. I said, imagine knowing that, like, because that team we played, they'd drawn their last 2 games 0-0. Before that, they'd lost 40 games in a row. Like, what's the point? Like, seriously, imagine knowing that you're going to get on a plane, you're going to fly to the country that you're playing the team against, and you're going to get battered. Just like, imagine knowing that every single week. Like, what's the point? Seriously. And do you know what? Like, the fact that they even won a corner was probably a miracle for them, innit? Like, their population of their country is 33,000 people. It's probably a miracle that they can field 11 players out of 33,000.
It's a country full of players who failed Italian footballers and playing for them, innit? It's players that can't make it in Italy or, rubbish players playing there. It's waste of time, mate. Waste of time. Yeah. I don't even know why these countries are even bothering to playing these tournaments. Have their own little tournaments somewhere else. You know what I mean? It's just a waste of time. I didn't watch. I watched Italy against Northern Ireland. I thought that they played very well first half, but they still don't look to me as if they are a team that they're not like the old. They're not like the old Italians used to be, mate. They're not. I don't know. I think they might. If there's any Italians in this chat, I think there is one in there. Luca's in there, but I'm not very impressed with them at all. Anyway, so what's been occurred? What else have you been doing a lot this week? What have you been up to, mate?
I've just been doing loads of collabs, man. To be honest, I've actually looked forward to this international break for weeks because watching Arsenal drives me mad. And I said to you backstage before we came live it's I've unmuted you, Kenny. I've unmuted you.
Yeah.
No, he's muted himself. There he is.
Hello.
Hello. Kenny, your timekeeping is shocking, mate.
I'm so sorry. You know what it is? I want to apologise to the viewers and Lee, you guys. The reason why it's happened is I was trying to look for these headphones. Couldn't find them.
Failing to prepare is preparing to fail, Kenny.
I know. And the thing is, I was the one who organised this thing, and I'm the one who's late. I've organised it all.
Lateness is greatness, mate. Lateness is greatness.
Yeah, but not the thing is, right, I want us to be the best podcast out there. We have to be the best.
Well, you have to start turning up on time then, mate.
I know. We have to be the best. I've set standards, and I'm not meeting them.
Chig was in the backstage. I put him in his bounce. I don't know if he's coming back. I don't know if he's got a problem with his internet.
No, Chig won't do the podcast unless I'm here. So that's why I rushed up because I knew that Chig would be waiting patiently for me.
Yeah, it was funny that you both turned up at the same time. I think something's going on there, mate. But are you enjoying the international break, Kenny?
Well, see, that's the thing. Me and Claude always have this argument. Well, not a discussion. Friendly discussion about international football, and I always tell people like Claude all the time that without qualification matches, and there's been no World Cup bonanza next year in Qatar. Italy won't have a chance to win their 5th World Cup without World Cup qualifiers. I see that Claude was celebrating last night when Italy beat the mighty Northern Ireland.
I wasn't celebrating. It was all right. It was a good first half, but second half they were all appalling. I watched it last night, but I don't get the buzz for it, Kenny. I don't get the buzz.
Well, the thing about international football is that one thing. The thing is, you're either damned or you're not. UEFA have tried to do the Europa League, it's like the League of Nations, in order to make the games more competitive. But it's getting the interest from the public. I think what's happening is that we love our domestic leagues. To be honest, we see things like the FA Cup, international football, and European matches as an inconvenience, because what gets us really going in terms of like debates like this, and like real humdinger of debate, is the Premiership matches and the state of your particular football club, because we are primed to love our football clubs more than anything else. That's the be all and end all of everything.
Yeah, but Kenny, that game last night, you probably was watching England.
No, I did actually. I have to admit, I called.
Well, exactly. You won't even watch it because that's the one you're aiming to.
No. You got me all wrong there. The reason why I wasn't watching it is because I was doing a boxing podcast preview. So if had it not been for boxing,
but what I'm trying to say, if that was Arsenal playing, you wouldn't be doing a boxing podcast, would you?
You tell him, Paul. You tell him. Poor timing.
That's my whole point, Kenny. That's my whole point. And that game was not even competitive, was it? That wasn't even competitive.
Yeah, but it's still World Cup qualifiers.
It's not really. It's. I mean, what do you game at? You don't gain nothing out of games like that.
You say it right, but England, teams like England, Italy, the Netherlands, Germany, Portugal, Spain, they're all highly ranked to the extent that FIFA want the best nations to get to the tournament. So you want a competitive football, but you're risking, if you're all right, you're not going to have a World Cup qualifying with England, Portugal, and France.
I would do what they do in the Nations League. So that teams like that in the Nations League, you have to qualify for. How can I put it? I think the World Cup tournament and the European. I think the European tournament is stronger actually than the World Cup. World Cup the tournament itself, I think it should be the best 16 teams in the world competing. And that's it. That's what I want to see. And you can sort that out. Like if you've done a sort of system like that Nations League, you can sort that out that way. Where you have to. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, do you know what the problem is? It's all about the money, mate. It's all about the money. Same with Champions League, Europa League, Europa Conference League.
You get the best money if you get the best teams in the tournament. Who wants to see teams no hopers go to the World Cup and then just turn up and get?
No, but you say that, but for them countries that are the no hopers, for them countries to make a World Cup in itself is a miracle. Some of them. So therefore, their countries, their people that live in their countries are buzzing. Because if their team makes it to a World Cup, then for them, it's the best thing they're ever going to see for their country. For us, it doesn't make great viewing at times. Yeah, but I just think international football for me is just, unless it's a tournament, I ain't interested. I sat with it on yesterday. It was in the background. It was a load of crap. Yeah.
Yeah, what about Spain and Germany like in November? That beautiful exhibition of beautiful passing, beautiful movement, great goals. 6-0, Spain 6, Germany 0. Nothing.
Mate, I'm just not interested. But let me get Chig in the cut. How you doing, Chig? You on mute, mate?
No. How you doing, man? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Can I have some of your crisps, please, Chig?
It's not me. It's Lee.
It's Claude. Claude's got his biscuits. He's got his biscuits in you, mate.
I thought it was you.
No.
How you doing, Chig? You enjoying international break?
I'm enjoying the break from Arsenal. That was good. All I'm seeing is watching.
Help me out here, mate. Help me out here, please.
Listen. Normally, I'm with you, Keddy Gunn. I'm there. I can't stand international football.
Oh no!
Honestly, I'm taking more interest in the cricket than I am in anything to do with Arsenal news.
Yeah, we don't talk about cricket on this channel, mate.
2020, man. although England are getting smacked up every time I see them play, but
before we get into this debate, first and foremost, smash the likes up. I'm going to read this super chat out from Joseph. Thank you very much. Said Lee, Claude, Kenny, who would you sell in the summer, and who would you sign? We'll do this rapid fire, lads. Yeah. I would get rid of Bellerin, Holding, Laka, Eddie, Joe, Willock, Granit Xhaka. Did I say Bellerin? I'd get rid of Bellerin, Reece Nelson, Willian, and I'd sign Grealish, Basuma, Lamptey.
What, instead of Odegaard?
And I'd probably go and sign. I rate that kid at Brentford, man, Tony. I'd sign him as well. So yeah, that's me. What about you, Claude?
Hold
Who
on,
would you get rid of?
Go to Kenny. I've got to answer this call. Sorry, mate.
Go on, mate.
Right, I'll be selling Bellerin, Holding, Aubameyang, Xhaka, Nketiah, Reece Nelson, and I'm tempted to sell the goalkeeper to get a proper number one. And I'll be getting Ollie Watkins.
Yep.
Houssem Aouar. I'll be getting Ndidi. I want nothing but the best. Basuma, everyone talks Basuma, but I want the best, and I think I deserve that. So I want Ndidi. I want Ndidi. Did I say I said Oliver Watkins, didn't I? So Oliver Watkins. Yep. I want Max Aarons from Norwich at right back. And in terms of my centre half, I still have a penchant for Lewis Dunk.
What goalkeeper if you're getting rid of Leno?
The goalkeeper I'll be looking for
Martinez.
No, I won't be asking for Martinez. I want Oblak from Oblak from
Kenny's standards are up here. Go on, Kenny.
Standards up here.
Kenny wants that Euro win. He doesn't want the lottery. He doesn't want the lotto. He wants to win the Euros.
Yes. Nothing but the best for me. You asked and you got it.
Let me come to Chig. Go on, Chig.
Oh, so you're going to ask me my chopping block already? Okay, here we go.
Come on. We're getting a preview here of the chopping block. Let's go.
Bellerin, all the goalkeepers. Get rid of all of them. Louise, Holding. Honestly, I like Chambers, but Chambers.
Nketiah, Nenny, Willock.
Yeah. And then no, hold on. Is this you or me, mate? Nketiah, Willock,
myself.
Nelson. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. And then to replace them, I'd also bring in Ollie Watkins. Shut up, Lee, before you say anything. So I can already tell what you're going to say. Daka.
Very quickly, do you want to pay out the 50 quid yet or not?
I'd sell Laka as well, by the way. I'd sell them both. I'd bring in Ollie Watkins. I'd bring in Daka from RB Leipzig. I'd bring in Houssem Aouar because I do think he's a good player. If Grealish is available, great. I'd bring him in as well.
You pay the money, mate. Everyone.
And then I'd bring in any form of a top defender. Oh, that RB Leipzig guy that people used to say it was Upamecano. I mean, it wasn't Upamecano that was good, it was his partner. I'd bring him. He's a big fucker. I'll bring him in. Ben, I've forgotten his name. Ben knows what I'm talking about in the chat room.
Yeah, Konate.
Konate, that's what. Yeah, Konate. Yeah.
Okay.
That'll be him.
Fair enough. Very quickly, before I come to Claude, big up to Ian in the chat. He said Watkins is a mid-table striker. So is Aubameyang and Lacazette in a minute. So Watkins is fitting well.
Yeah. No, I'd bring him too, to be honest. That's why I'd say Watkins and
Watkins
Daka.
is a bad boy. I'm telling you. We already know this.
He's an Arsenal fan as well.
Yeah,
not that makes a difference, but you never know. It might do. He's a quality player and he gives a damn about the club. So put him in.
Yeah, man. Claude, ins and outs.
Right, ins and outs.
Sack them all. It's time to go.
Leno out. Bring back Martinez. Take out Bellerin. Who else is going to take out Bellerin? Xhaka, Granit Xhaka, Aubameyang, and who else going to take out? El Neni. And I'll bring in who can I bring in then? So I'll bring in Haaland. Bissouma and Lamptey.
What about Odegaard? Claude? Would you sign Odegaard?
Oh, it's always a hard one between him and Grealish. Is a bit of a hard one.
All jokes aside,
can you believe that nonsense? Can you believe that nonsense?
Chig, say it again.
All jokes aside, right? Don't get me wrong. Obviously, I would not choose him over Grealish, but it would depend on the price. He's a good player. He is. The way Arsenal fans are going on, they've gone a bit mad with it.
He's got God status already, bruv.
Yeah, but yeah, he's a good player. Let's not let crazy Arsenal fans detract from the fact that he is a good player.
Yeah.
The jury is still out. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say he's the be all and end all just yet, but he's definitely shown signs that he's a good player.
He has. But listen, the reason Grealish is double the price is because he's double the player. So you just go all out for the best. Like Kenny said, if you want the best, if you want to be the best, you got to get the best. But I'll keep
Lacazette because I just like as a squad, certainly as a squad player coming in. He's very, he's still a very useful player.
He ain't gonna take the place over Haaland, is he, Claude?
No. But I said Aubameyang. I'd get Aubameyang out and leave Lacazette. And then you can promote the likes of Balogun and Martinelli, can't you? So they're also for the future as well. So yeah, I think that'd be about right. Luis, I think I'd keep Luis just because of his experience as well around the dressing room as well. I would keep Luis.
No, fair enough. Right, before we get into this debate, a lot of people in the chat, because I've put a picture on the thumbnail of Bergkamp and Henry. There's a lot of people in the chat that have got the ump with that because they're saying, what about the other players that we've had over the years? The likes of Liam Brady, Tony Adams, Patrick Vieira, Ashley Cole. Yeah. We've had some great players over the years. And the reason I put him, listen, just because they're on the thumbnail, don't mean they're the only two in the conversation, by the way. Yeah. And it's only our opinions. You can leave your goat in the chat. But
Lee, can I just say something? Can I just cut you off? Can I just say something? Because the reason why you put those two in, and I'm going to say this with the greatest respect. No, and it's not. It's disrespectful to my cousins, because I consider Arsenal fans my cousins, even the ones that hate me are my cousins. We are never, ever going to see players like Dennis Bergkamp, Henry again in their lifetime at the Arsenal. That's why you put them in. Because let me tell you something now. You're going to get players who are going to be close to that. They're going to have a go.
Or Liam Brady.
They're going to make a fist of it. But those two players, obviously you know about Liam Brady more than me, because Liam Brady, I was 8 when Liam Brady left the football club. But in terms of what I've seen, you will never get those two sort of players at the football club again. Like I said before, many players will try it and take their crown, and they'll make a good fist of it, but they will never get close to those two players. And that's why they got statues alongside Tony Adams, because they're up there. That is the standards, and those two set them.
Well said. Let's start with, who wants to start first? Who wants to go first? I'm going to wait until last, so you three can argue it out.
Chick.
Help me out here,
mate. Help me out, brother.
It's Kenny's fault we're doing this stream, by the way, because Kenny's been talking about it for about a week or two now. Yeah, Friday we're doing it. So the stage is yours.
Oh gosh. See, for me, I think I think there are a few different ways you can go, but the top two. So if we forget the top two for a single second, you know, I think you can talk about many different sort of players. You know, some people put Merson in that very top bracket. You know, some people put I put Carnu in that very top bracket. You know, someone who I love and I rate and I think has been very skillful over the years. In all seriousness, I think Kenny Ken makes a strong argument for Thierry Henry. I think Thierry Henry, you've got to give it to him. The guy is an out and out perfect forward, or was the perfect forward. This is not a guy that just scored goals, but this is a guy that set up goals as well. Was just poetry on the ball, you know, the fluidity that he had. But the one criticism that I always have about Thierry Henry is the biggest stage. The biggest stage. And part of me has never, ever quite forgiven him for that Champions League final 1-1.
So there was two. There was two.
Yeah, but
people remember, but there was two.
Yeah, it's the one people remember though.
Yeah.
And I think for me personally, I think you're undoubtedly talking about one of the greatest ever in Thierry Henry for everything that he's done. For me, he's one of, you know, if you talk about, and I would love us to do this at some point today. If you were to build a Premier League all-time list, for me, he gets in there every time. But he's the second name on the list. For me, the first name is Dennis Bergkamp.
Yes, go on, Chig.
He was an absolute. I mean, if Thierry Henry was poetry, this guy was the writer. This guy was the composer. For everything that he did, and he elevated everybody's game around him. It wasn't just Thierry Henry. It was Ian Wright. It was Perez. It was Overmars. It was everybody around him. Some of the deadest players around him. Even I'm not going to lie to you. Was never a huge fan of Romford Pele. I'm sorry. I know that's blasphemy, right? Never the biggest Ray Parlour fan. I always was very frustrated with him as a player. Even when they were on the pitch together, he used to elevate his game. You know, in terms of, you know, used to see him almost try and get more movement out of Ray Parlour. I mean, think of Ray Parlour and movement. Those two things don't normally go together.
Got more than Xhaka.
Yeah,
even now.
well, yeah, true. So yeah, I think from my perspective, I don't know if anyone was expecting a better argument than this. I've always loved the two. I've always loved the two, but I think for me, I've always put Dennis just ahead. Just ahead.
What about? Do you want to go next, Kenny, or should we let Claude go?
There's Claude.
Claude.
Go on, Claude. Go on, mate. Can you? Are you going to agree with Chig, or are you going to go with Kenny here? Because Kenny's going to put a good argument up. I know he is. He always does.
You know, this is a very, very difficult one. It's very, very. You can. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people go on the fence on this one because it is a difficult. So because you could argue Henry has got more goals than Bergkamp. He's also probably on the level with assists, about the same par as on assists. But for me, Dennis, though, for me, had something that stats don't really show, if you know what I mean. I think he had like a like a camera in his head, a camera. He had a real. Who's this? Who's right on the? Oh,
this is Jez. You know Jez.
Oh, hello, Jez. Oh, sorry, I didn't recognise you, mate.
How could you not know Jez, bro? That's a disgrace.
All right, mate. He had that
Kenny.
Sort of photographic memory in his
Jez, help me out here, Jez. Help me out.
Where he could, you know, he could see two passes ahead. He was that's the genius he was. You know what I'm saying? And I think he'd have been. Where I'll just give him the edge. I think internationally he was much a better player. Are we going on? on his Premier League form or just on overall?
Just Arsenal. Don't worry about Holland and all that. Just Arsenal. But people will say this, and I've seen a few people in the chat very early on before I even went live saying with Bergkamp that it was he didn't like fly in, so he missed a lot of European away games and stuff like that. Listen, he used to drive to half of them. Yeah, so that's a myth. Yeah, like, yes, he just
Really
didn't like the plane. Yeah,
lots of ferries and coaches.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? How he got to the World Cup in America was a madness, bruv. I don't know how he did that one, but there you go.
He sailed. He sailed.
What I will say about Dennis as well is that he came in early. He's the one that really got us changing our style of football as well. He was the one player that got us going in another direction as far as how can I put it? A style of play. He was the one that directed our style of play. You know what I'm saying? So, and I remember if you look at that 97-98 team that won the double, he really he played a massive part. And he also lifted a lot of ordinary players in that team. There was few players that weren't that great, but he lifted them as well to another level. So I've got to, in my opinion, I just got to give it to Dennis, but it's very difficult to argue against Henry as well because of his goals input and his overall impact on the game as well. So it's very difficult. But I'm going to give my vote to Dennis Bergkamp.
Does Kenny want to go next, or do you want to let Jez go next?
Jez, over you, Jez. I'll go after Jez.
Well, yeah. If we're just discussing Bergkamp and Henry, which to actually make a statement of who's the greatest Arsenal player ever, I think it's very difficult. I mean, you know, I've watched Arsenal now for 53 years. And there has been so many awesome players. But if we're just discussing Henry and Bergkamp, then it's a close one. Bergkamp technically was unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, one of the greatest Arsenal players I've ever seen. Goal scoring ability, Henry. He was a demon, although it took him a season to get into it. I find it hard to actually make that decision, to be honest with you, Kenny. I'll be truthful with you. You know, they've both got statues, but then again, so does Tony Adams. But I don't know, mate. We've had some great defence.
It depends what you look for in a footballer. I said this to Rance earlier, right? Because you could easily make a case that Tony Adams is our greatest. Thank you. One at a time, please. Yeah, sorry. Table service. You could easily make a case that Tony Adams is our greatest ever player. Just because he didn't have the glitz and the glamour of scoring all the goals. Yeah, he was the youngest captain we'd had at that particular point. He led us to titles. He led us to trophies galore. He's got a statue as well. So you could make a case for Tony Adams. And Tony Adams, the closest defender I've ever seen to Tony Adams is John Terry. Yeah, I can't stand saying that, by the way, but it's John Terry. John Terry is the closest Tony Adams I've ever seen. But for me, it's personal preference. It's what you like. I love Tony Adams. I loved what he did for us. I love the fact arms up, even if it weren't offside and they always gave it. I loved his aggression. I loved the fact that he'd been through all the crap he'd been through and he's still come back and still got better. And Wenger was a massive part to play in that by stretching his career out another 5 years. But personal preference is Bergkamp. Bergkamp, well, I remember the day we signed him. My dad told me, no, you signed Bergkamp. I said, shut up. Yeah, and he showed me the newspaper. Yeah, and I was like, I can't believe it. I was like, we've signed Bergkamp. Yeah, and the impact that guy had on Arsenal for such a small fee after not really getting in Inter Milan's team constantly and being on the periphery of their team, to come into England and do what he did for this football club, the flair, the goals, the passing, the vision, like he is everything Ozil fans thought Ozil was. Well, go and watch Henry. I said Henry. Look, Kenny's wetting himself. Go and watch Dennis Bergkamp. Yeah, because Dennis Bergkamp was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, Thierry Henry was a different type of player. He was a more physical, a quicker player, more raw. Yeah, and the goals were just ridiculous. But Bergkamp, go on, Jez, go on.
Lee, sorry, mate, but you've also got to remember we had a Bergkamp-esque player, yeah, back with Liam Brady. I mean, that guy, when he came to Arsenal, mate, was phenomenal. And I remember the day we signed him, and I remember his first game at Highbury, and he was just unreal. I'd never seen anybody play like him outside of George Best. When I saw George Best many a time at Arsenal, when he was at Man U, this guy came in like, who is this fella? Now, I know that's long back in the past, and we've had some great players back in the past, but back in his time, at that time of football in Div 1, he was amazing. He was unbelievable. Some of his dribbling skills, some of the goals he scored. I remember a goal against West Ham, mate, where when he scored, the whole of the crowd at Highbury was like, and there was like 43,000 people. They're like, did that happen? Did that really? And everybody started applauding and cheering because it was like 10 seconds before anybody realised it happened. Now, I know Bergkamp did that, and phenomenal player to me. But the one point I'll say is, and that's why I put it in the comments earlier, I don't think you can actually say who is the best ever Arsenal player. I mean, we had David O'Leary, yeah, Frank McClintock, awesome player in his day. I commend that guy. You know, Radford, what a great player he was in the Fairs Cup. Yeah, got us back in the game, won our first European trophy. And, you know, Cliff Baston held the record for the goal scoring of 62 years until Wright broke it, then obviously Henry. I honestly can't, I'll end up, guys, I can't actually say who I rate in 53 years of watching Arsenal, the best player Arsenal have ever had. Sorry about that, but that's the way it is.
Go on, Kenny. The table is yours, my friend. Feast.
Right. First thing I want to ask all you guys, right? What is the French for va-va-voom?
Bergkamp.
Stop it. But in terms of Thierry Henry, the reason why I'm going for him, let me just talk about Dennis. I absolutely love Dennis. I was just like you, Lee, and everyone else when Dennis signed from Internazionale. I was really excited. And the things that Dennis could do with the football, watching it live as well, that season, 97-98, you know, the goal against Leicester City, the hat-trick against Leicester, beautiful play. Every goal was world-class. And then you had the goal against Barnsley, home and away. And you had that season. And then, you know, you had the season afterwards where he's imperious. And you had that goal against Newcastle. Oh, God. The last, remember when we were at the Highbury, you know, like when we played West Brom, and it was Dutch Day. It was Dennis Bergkamp Day. We all had orange shirts on. You know what I mean? And Dennis, I love Dennis. And up until about, I started this debate. If anyone said to me, Dennis Bergkamp, Thierry Henry, I agree with them. Then I thought about it. I said, well, hang on here. Thierry Henry is described as the best player by a lot of his peers, as the best player who's ever played in the Premiership. But at Arsenal, we have this kind of debate. But when I look at Thierry Henry changed the way forwards play. Before, it was players who play with their back to goal, players who run down those channels, players who good headers. He changed everything. He was the first forward to actually come with the wings, the first forward to create assists. You know, it wasn't just running onto a pass from Bergkamp or getting on the end of a cross. We couldn't head it to save his life, so I'll let him off for that one. But it's the way he scored goals.
He scored a great header against United when they were time wasting. Do you remember?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's his own header. But remember the goal against Man United in 2000? He gets the ball. He's back to goal. Grimondi gives him the ball. Looks up. Uses Dennis Bergkamp's leverage. Looks up. Volleys it in the net in slow motion. And we're all thinking, You know, like Jez, as you were talking about, look, with Brady back in the day against West Ham. Well, we all thinking that when I was in the stands, this didn't happen, did it? It didn't happen, did it? And then you think about it, right? The second wave, right? We had the first wave of the double in 97, 98. From the second double in Invincible, I think that without Thierry, that don't happen. Without Thierry. And the reason why I'm going for it, you go through that game, the goal against Tottenham Hotspur in the North London derby, what he did to Ledley King in the old Tottenham defence, we're all purring. And then what about that time when, after we not got knocked out against Chelsea in 2004, the game against Liverpool on Good Friday,
Oh, that was mad. That hat-trick was insane.
What he did to Jamie
absolutely
Carragher,
ruined.
you know what I mean? Ruined Jamie Carragher. And then a week later, we played Leeds at home. Those 4 goals, the speed and the pace, and most of them created by himself. I look at that, and then you look at all the other videos. The goal against Charlton, where he gets the ball, holds on to the defender, and just flicks it. Back heel. You know what I mean? And then you look at the goal against Man City in the Invincible season, where it went past a rocket past.
Oh, that had no backlift on that shot.
No backlift whatsoever.
So
and he did it again. He did it about a month later against Man United, where Carroll is in the middle of the goal, but he still can't save it, and you can't blame Carroll for it because he shoots, and then all of a sudden, late swerve, and Carroll's going, "What happened there?" And then I think about the times when he should have had the Ballon d'Ors, and he didn't get it when he's playing his best football. Let's not forget the game in Milan, Internazionale, in where him and that goal, he ruined. Was it in 2003? In 2003, where that season we lost 3-0 when the guy, where a very young what's that? Who's that horrible
Obafemi Martins.
Martins scored that goal when he went 3-0 up. I hate Martins. He ruined my life in Wembley in 2009. But that's another debate. But when I think about all those examples, and I do think about what Dennis has done. Those beautiful goals. Against Southampton when the first time he got his goals, he didn't just score tappings. He scored a rocket. He scored a volley, then a rocket. But then I look at Thierry and I look at that season when we won things. All right, Chig's right. Paris in the rain, where worst day of my life, when he could have put us 2-0 up. He puts us 2-0, we win the game. All we have to do, put men behind the ball, Champions League final. And I do remember, there was a game against Liverpool where Thierry Henry in the final could have had that trick, could have had an own ball.
Yeah,
but
the
reason why I fell in love with Thierry Henry, because when he first came to the club, Jez Uren, he's clawed all of you. He couldn't hit a barn door from out a yard. It was awful. His first game.
Both of them went about 8 games without a goal or something stupid.
But Thierry finishing was the worst finishing. We're talking Trevor Benjamin and Eddie Akabay's styles. That's how bad he was at finishing. But I think when Thierry turned it on, and when I knew he was going to be a great player, it was that game against Derby in the 99-2000 season, where it was the first time Arsene Wenger played him up front, and he scored those 2 goals. From that time on, Thierry was probably went on his way to be one of the best players that the Premiership has ever seen, and also one of the best players in the world. And that's why I slightly go to Thierry, because if you look at what he produced every season from about 99-2000 season to about the season before he left, always produced the goods. I'm not saying Dennis didn't, because he did it in a different way. But in terms of winning us games and getting us into finals, winning us leagues and everything, and getting us into the challenge, I don't think this happens without Thierry Henry. And that's why I call him the greatest. And that's why when we talk about Thierry Henry and Dennis Bergkamp, we're never going to see those players again. We'll be lucky if
we're blessed that we've seen them play.
Half as good as them.
We're blessed. Now we've got to deal with the likes of Willian.
It's not even that. It's not even that. People, if you look at Arsenal fans now, we're talking about Mesut Ozil. Like these young kids, right? I feel for them, because if they think Mesut Ozil had a great career in an Arsenal shirt, then they've missed out on the beautiful play of Henry and Bergkamp. And that's why I'm not disrespecting like Brady and Adams or anything, but I just think about those 2 players And I think
do
they
you
took
know what?
Arsenal,
Sorry to cut
those
you
two
off.
players took Arsenal to different levels.
No, so sorry to cut you off. Yeah, you're right with everything you've said, right? And the thing is, like when you talk about like best players in the world, nobody ever really mentions defenders anyway. Yeah, if you're a defender, that must piss you off. If you're a top defender, yeah, that must really upset you. Yeah, because it's always the attacking and the flair players that get the adulation rather than the defensive donkeys. Like, well, I say donkeys with all due respect, like, but the ones that do the donkey work to let the flair players and the goal scorers do their thing. Which is why, like, for example, I'll use Liverpool. Yeah, Liverpool got Virgil van Dijk. As soon as he walks into that football team, yeah, all of a sudden they're flying because they needed that world-class defender. Virgil van Dijk is a top-class centre-back, but back in that day, he probably would have been bench at Arsenal. Yeah, because we had such a good team. And that's not taking anything away from him. Football's evolved a lot. But back in them days, he wouldn't have played for Man United or Arsenal because we had such good teams back then. But now football's changed and it's completely different. But Virgil van Dijk, for me, has had the level of impact on Liverpool that Bergkamp had on Arsenal, which is why I mentioned him. Because when we signed Bergkamp, all of a sudden, we've then gone from being down here-ish to now we're flying. Yeah, like, absolutely insane signing. Like, and everything that Henry did, you're spot on, Kenny, yeah? But without Bergkamp in that team, Henry wouldn't have been as good, in my opinion. Like, it still would have been good. And big up Arsene Wenger for realising drift out to the left, cut inside and all them ones. Yeah, he was so quick. I don't think I've ever seen a quicker footballer in my life.
Yeah, but
he was rapid. I'd love to see Mbappe live because I think Mbappe's as quick as him. Yeah, but I've never seen a footballer as quick as him. But for the size of the geezer, go on.
Sorry to cut you off slightly. I hear what you're saying about Bergkamp. Respect to that, and there is a correlation between both their careers and the influence Bergkamp had on players like Henry. But there was a time where Bergkamp got in a bit of a rut, in 1999 up until probably about 2001. Bergkamp was in and out of the side. There was injuries, but there was lots of form. And remember, we had Carnu, who was challenging Dennis.
Chigs boy.
Chigs boy. Challenging Dennis for that sort of number 10 birds. And there were times where, in that respect, where Dennis made his kind of a renaissance in the second double year. But in between those times, in terms of consistency, I felt that, the reason why I gave it to Henry, because I thought about both those situations. I thought, well, yeah, there were times when Dennis was becoming less of an influence. Thierry was the player who was dragging us into the big time. I'm not saying that he didn't have much. Dennis didn't have a lot of influence, less influence on Arsenal's fortunes. But in terms of like the period when Dennis was in and out of form and injured, and I think with the Invincibles, I thought I think Thierry was more of that. Thierry and Robert Perez were more of the, you know what I mean? And that's probably, it's subjective anyway, because
the thing is, like, Arsenal put out a tweet the other day saying it was X amount of years or on this day that we beat Middlesbrough 5-3. Yeah, the 5-3 game, right? And they were 3-1 up, and we had the Highbury screamer behind the goal. Yeah, she was going nuts, bro. That shot from Kadru, all three of their goals, to be fair, were absolute bangers. Joseph Desiree Jobs slapped that in 100 mile an hour. Then Hasselbank, he must have had one of the most hardest shots in football at the time. Yeah, he whacked one in. Kadru, I don't know what Lehman was doing. He was way over that side of the goal for some reason. But what a comeback! And that was to equal Nottingham Forest record. Yeah, and but do you know what? When Arsenal put the clip out, I'll come to Claude in a sec. Yeah, when Arsenal put the clip out the other day, and we were 3-1 down in that game, it panned to the crowd. Yeah, if that had panned to the crowd now, 3-1 down to Middlesbrough, everyone would be going mad. Everyone was just sat there like, "We've got this. It don't matter." Yeah, because that's how good we were back then. And we scored 3 goals in 10 minutes, I think it was, or 4 goals in 10 minutes. Yeah, and just went bang bang. Reyes' goal in that game was mad. Yeah, brilliant goal. But if you go and look at that game, and this is why I'll always say Bergkamp, go and look at that game. Yeah, go and look at that game. We were 3-1 down to Middlesbrough to equal Nottingham Forest record, and you're thinking, oh, we're going to bottle it. We're going to bottle it. Yeah, and out of nowhere, Bergkamp comes up with so many bits of magic for them goals. It is unbelievable. He made Reyes, Henry, and Pires levels for me, because everything, and he was a nasty bastard as well. He could get in your face. The way he used to click his own heel and dive was insane. Yeah, I've never seen anyone do it, mate. Like as good as him. He used to click his own heel, but because you could hear the clicking noise of your own heel, yeah, the ref used to think he's been clipped. It's a pen every time. So when our fans sit there and say Salah's a diver, this day, yeah, go and watch Bergkamp diving, because he used to do it all the time. He did it perfect every time. But what do you reckon, Claude? You have you been convinced by Kenny Ken?
Well, I'll tell you what. Another thing I'd give the edge to Bergkamp as well on the footballing. If Henry didn't lost his pace or whatever, if he didn't have the pace, I don't think he would. I think Bergkamp could cope without the pace, whereas I don't think Henry could play as well without the pace. If you understand, you get me well coming from Kenny on that.
He's on mute.
I do understand it, but I think what's happened is that when you look further into Thierry's career at Arsenal, I think what's happened is that the pace became kind of secondary because of the moments in which he was, like the goals he was scoring, the influence he's having, the assists as well, in terms of like his technique. His technique was perfect. He improved in terms of like his left foot as well. And I think that's. But you are right. Towards the end, I suppose in the 2006-2007 season, where Thierry was getting a lot of injuries, obviously the Barcelona thing was in his head. That's where he's probably least effective, and he was getting injured a lot. And yeah, there was less effectiveness because of because of his injury. He couldn't use his pace. So you've got a good point there. But to
be fair though, all things being equal, when Henry came back in 2012, he wasn't exactly a picture of pace then. He grabbed himself a couple of goals just through sheer
winner against Leeds.
I think what I'm trying to, what was I going to? I think if you look at it, they've both got great players, but they've both got different qualities as well. If you see what I'm saying, they've both got different points. There's a lot.
They complemented each other perfectly.
Yeah. There's a lot of.
I think why I caused all this trouble. Sorry, for causing trouble. Sorry, James, for bringing you into it. Didn't help me out there, did you? Anyway,
I will in a minute, mate. I will in a minute.
Oh no, good mate. But you know what? The situation is that I think what it is that many an Arsenal fan, right? I speak to, I spoke to someone at work and I was getting him involved, and he said Bergkamp as well. And I was thinking, I couldn't separate the two. And
before I went live, sorry to cut you off. Before I went live, I asked my father-in-law, yeah, right, he's a Wolves fan. Right, he's a little bit older than you, Kenny. Not much older, but a little bit older. I just said to him, "Who's Arsenal's best ever player?" And he went, "Bergkamp." And you ask any other rival fan or other team's fans, who's Arsenal's best ever player? 90% of them come back with Bergkamp. Yeah, there's a reason for that. That's because he's our best ever player.
Thank God I started this debate.
But that's because he's our best ever player. And the thing is, when we signed him, he was already a world-class footballer. When we signed Thierry Henry, obviously he became a world-class footballer, but he wasn't world-class. And that's why I say that he changed Arsenal, Bergkamp, because, obviously Wenger had a massive hand in obviously signing the likes of VIEIRA and all these other players, Petit, Henry, all these players down the years. But Bergkamp, being at Arsenal, gave Arsenal a status. Yeah, we were already the classy club, but we'd been in a bit of a lull for a couple of seasons, and then bang, Bergkamp signs. Well, I know we'd done the double and the Cup Winners' Cup, but it was like we hadn't won the title for a while, so we'd been in that lull in the league. We then signed Bergkamp, and all of a sudden we've now got status up here. And then when obviously George Graham went, and then eventually Wenger comes in. He comes in with his knowledge of the French players and stuff like that. All of a sudden, they're looking, going, fucking hell, Bergkamp plays. Or I'll go to Wenger. Yeah, cool, we're going there. Yeah, so I'll always give Wenger credit for that, because he did have the whole of that run of the market, and he knew which ones were the gems, yeah? But Bergkamp was always the key. It's like Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi now. If Barca or Juve come in for you, you're going to play with Messi or Ronaldo. Yeah, Bergkamp was that guy back in the 90s. Anyone we signed, oh fucking hell, I'm playing with Bergkamp. Yeah, and then obviously Henry elevated himself in that conversation by just scoring so many goals. And did
Bergkamp change the coaching manual? Henry changed people's coaching manuals with the way he plays off forward.
But Bergkamp was
And he
the
did
cherry
that at
on
Arsenal.
top of the
He
cake,
did
Kenny.
that whilst playing at Arsenal. Henry changed the way strikers play
You know when Salt Bay goes like that, yeah?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
Bergkamp. That's Bergkamp.
I would argue Bergkamp was probably the main reason a number 10 even exists, because people were trying to figure out what sort of
I don't know.
positions.
Some people talk about Platini, Peter Beardsley.
Maradona.
What, Peter Beardsley? Peter Beardsley. He was a great player, by the way. He was a great player, Peter Beardsley. But in terms of coaching manual, Henry changed the coaching manuals.
No, he did. No, he did. He did. I get that, but at the same time, yeah, the elegance, the class, the vision. Like, people talk about players with vision now. Kevin De Bruyne for me is the best midfielder in the world, right? He ain't on the same planet as Bergkamp. Yeah, he ain't on the same planet. Yeah, I like the technical ballers. Yeah, that like the Grealishes, the Mahrezes, players like. I love watching players like, but I also like watching the raw players like Mbappe and Haaland. They're just fucking raw, man. Them two are going to be superstars. Henry was that guy. Yeah, but Bergkamp was also the fucking main man. Like, for me, you can argue. Listen, I love them both. I'm blessed that I've seen them both. Yeah, so I ain't really too fussed either way. Yeah, but what do you reckon, Jez?
Okay, you're going to put me on it.
Yeah, come on, you can't sit on the fence anymore, mate. You get splinters.
All right. Out the two of them, then for me, it's Bergkamp. There you go.
Oh, Kenny's wounded.
Sorry, Kenny. Sorry,
because,
mate.
Because not so, because I love them both, and I couldn't split them. But the reason why I looked at Henry, it was just basically going into the memory bank and thinking, well, hang on, he did this, he did that, because at the night. And I look at
Henry's got bigger individual moments at Arsenal than Bergkamp has, but that's because he was more attacking. Yeah, he was more of a raw impact footballer. Like that goal you said about the hat trick he scored against Liverpool, and he took his shirt off and just threw it up in the air and run like. Yeah, he was so arrogant with it as well. Like, do you remember when we played in the Champions League final and Puyol comes sliding in, he just dinked the ball over him and looked back at him like, "What? See you later." Yeah. Like, he had more impact moments, but if you watch and I know you did, and I'm not mugging you off or anything, but if you watch the impact Bergkamp had in every single one of them games in that invincible season, yeah, he was easily for me one of our best players in that season, if not the best player. Obviously, Pires, another one, he gets underrated by our fans. Nobody really puts him in these conversations. Pires was fucking brilliant. Yeah, massive cock up subbing him. Yeah, in the fucking Champions League final, massive cock up, because that was a goal threat and that was somebody that could win you a game. Yeah, and his partnership with Henry was just fucking insane. But Bergkamp was the little sparkly angel dust that just made it look easy. He never looked like he was flustered. He never looked hurried. It never looked like he was. Go on.
Sorry, Lee, to interrupt. The only reason I've gone with Bergkamp, mate, is because when he first came, everybody was gassed. You know, we've got Bergkamp. But to me, he was the all-round package. He had a massive influence, and I agree with what the other guys said. He scored goals. He was phenomenal in midfield, but he also had this technique of bringing other players into the game with his distribution, and his whole mental thing he had an unbelievable intellectual football brain, something I've not had the privilege to see in many other players, to be fair. And so that's the reason I've gone with Bergkamp. yeah, I mean, it's a tough call. For me, I could name 4 other great players, but there we go.
Name them.
I'll never forget that game at Ewood Park when he absolutely run the show.
will.
We're 4-0 up at half.
Yeah.
Time. Oh my God, he was magnificent that day. He was magnificent.
He had everything. He won goal of the month, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
No other player's ever done that, ever.
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3. Unbelievable footballer, man. He never scored a shit goal, did he, Bergkamp, really? Like, they were always fucking quality, weren't they? Like, just unbelievable goals. But you know what? Like, if you look at the goal, somebody put it in the chat earlier. If you look at the pass that he put on a plate for Freddie Ljungberg against Juve.
Yeah. Put you
like,
out,
literally. Man's just literally trapped the ball, spun, ducked, jinked, bobbed and weaved, and then ping outside of the boot. He's took out 4 Juve players. And at the time, Juventus were one of the best teams in the world. Yeah, and he's literally just had them all on strings. 4 players.
He didn't even have to look, did he? He didn't even have to look.
He knew where he was. Didn't have to look. He seen the picture.
You know what, Easley? I think they both had great moments. Also, they've had, moments where you think, oh, if only. Like, Henry had Paris, Bergkamp had Villa Park.
Bergkamp had the penalty.
I think that's probably why I've gone for those 2 above all the other players. Not out of this, is because I thought, are we ever going to see? Obviously, we weren't going to see another Tiny Adams, and we ain't going to see another Liam Brady. But in terms of what those 2 did for a football club, I worry about the future of the club I love. I worry that we're going to see those kind of players at other clubs, not Arsenal, and that's why I put them on this pedestal. And I think we may never see that kind again.
Yeah,
I don't care about whether we see him in the Premiership. I care about what at Arsenal. I think those 2 are the ones that
Mbappe and Henry is always the comparison now, isn't it? Yeah, because they're both French, they're both young, they both play in a similar position, they're both rapid, they both score great goals. If Mbappe goes on to have a career that Thierry Henry's had, well done to him, man. Yeah, because when I watch Mbappe, I do see something in there that makes me think that's Thierry. But at the same time, you're doing it in the French league. Yeah, and you've done it in the French league for many years. Now come and do it in the Premier League.
Having said that, he did it in a World Cup.
Do it. Well, yeah, he did score in a couple of World Cup finals. Listen, I'm not mugging Mbappe off. I think he's quality. Yeah, I really rate Mbappe. But I think he is probably the closest player I've seen to Thierry Henry in terms of the position they play, the way he plays, how quick he is. I think he's probably modelled himself on Thierry Henry. Yeah, and it does come across on the pitch. Whether he can go on to bag like 35 goals in a season or whatever it was, Henry scored 37, whatever. Whether he can go on and be that player that can pick a ball up on the halfway, 3-1 down or 2-1 down or whatever it was to Liverpool, and just run round some of the best players in the league and just make them run into each other. Carragher's one of the best centre-backs we're ever going to see. Yeah, and he's run into his centre-back partner and then just put it in the bottom corner and score a hat-trick. You were losing that game. Like, you've just been dumped out of Europe. Yeah, you've just been dumped out the cup. And now you're losing at home. At home, you never lost at home. You're losing at home to Liverpool. Yeah, see you later, Michael Owen. Sit back down. Yeah, he was unbelievable, Henry, man. Like, we're so blessed, all of us, man, that we grew up in that era, because the players back then, and I say this when I do podcasts with other people as well that are similar ages, like we were lucky. We grew up in an era, especially with the Italian league as well, which was the best league in the world at the time. Claude will know more than most, but that Italian league was insane. The players in that league in the 90s was a joke. Yeah, some of the Spanish teams with Ronaldinho and players like that, Figo, we're never going to see players like that ever again. The game's finished from that, man. So, like, we're lucky.
Yeah, they're more athletes now, aren't they? They're more athletes. They're more athletes.
That's what it is. Yeah, athletes and systems. That's all it is. Whereas back then, Ronaldinho didn't need to track back and slide tackle someone on the edge of his box. You give the geezer the ball, he'll fucking score screamers. Yeah, he'll embarrass you on a football pitch. Yeah, and it's like, we've gone away from that, and football's gone away from that. And we're lucky. We've seen some of the greats. Obviously, you guys are a little bit older than me. Well, 3 of you are anyway.
Even you say good play. I mean, I know it's not the same, but Ozil of 2010 was a top player. 2010, the Ozil of 2010.
Ozil for Real Madrid, unbelievable. Yeah, literally dribbling, like pace. He was quick, technical ability, jinking past people. He'd score, he'd create. But then Jose had sub him after 60 minutes because he knew he didn't have the engine. Yet we were playing him 90 minutes every week. Yeah, away in big matches. It's like, why are you playing him for 90 minutes? He couldn't do it at Madrid for 90 minutes. Yeah, and he ain't even dribbling past people now, and we're playing like it makes no sense. But it's the same with it's like when you watch Liverpool, like Liverpool's right back didn't just spams crosses. Robertson spams crosses. Yeah, that's why I like Robertson. I don't particularly rate Trent. I like Robertson, but give me Tierney all day long because Tierney will fucking dribble around you. Robertson can't dribble past anyone. He just gets the ball, whips it on his left, and pings it. Yeah, Tierney will dribble past you. Tierney can do a little skill and ping one in with his right foot. Yeah, and that's why I rate players like that. I rate players like Grealish, Mahrez. You know, they're fucking skillful players that could have played back in the 90s. Whereas most of these players in modern football, they would never have gotten a team in the 90s, man. They're not fucking good enough. Not good enough, man. If we sat here and listed all the greats in world football, yeah, from our lifetime, the list would be a joke. It'd be ridiculous. Like, it'd be mad. And now you list the greats that are in the game now or potential greats.
We've been spoiled. We've been spoiled, mate.
It'd be on one hand. There'd be hardly any.
We've been spoiled.
And do you know what? We're lucky we've lived in that era, man. But
yeah, Lee, do you want to hear my four then?
Go on then, mate. Go on.
Right. Goalkeeper. Best goalkeeper I've ever seen at Arsenal. Bob Wilson. Awesome
I've knocked
player.
on the door for double glazing, Jez. He lives in Stevenage.
Great bloke.
He's got a massive fucking house, big gates and everything.
Yeah, great player. I was luckily privileged to be there the night we won the Fairs Cup, and he kept us in the game, mate. Fair play. Midfielder. Said it before. Liam Brady.
Yeah.
Unbelievable player. Rocky Rocastle, mate. Rest in peace.
All right, Rocky.
Yeah, definitely. And striker, back in the day, Alan Smith. Great player.
Oh, yeah.
Smith.
Yeah.
Smithy.
Alan Smith. He's got to be one of the most boring commentators, though, isn't he?
No, I bet. He scored lots of goals for Arsenal.
He did score lots of goals for us.
You know what? I must admit, I did get. I got very attached to Niall Quinn because because of that team.
Does his wife know?
That team in 86, 87 when we won the Littles Cup. I got attached to those players. I really was willing them on to do well, like Rocky, Martin Hayes. All the young players come through. Obviously, Perry Groves, I was willing him on. Yeah. I know what people are going to say. It's Perry and everything. Number one, Perry Groves. But when Alan Smith came to the club, I was very hostile because it was Niall Quinn. But what Alan Smith did in the 89 season and 91 season, remember he got the golden boot in those 2 seasons.
Yeah.
To think he couldn't even get, he didn't get enough recognition from England was a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. That a player like that didn't get enough England caps. Embarrassing.
Mate, it's bad.
I tell you what I think about England, right? How on earth, right? Arsenal had a great back four, didn't they?
Yeah.
Why didn't they never pick them all together as a unit?
Stuart Pearce. As a unit. England went for players on individual basis. If they'd gone for a unit, it would have been a more solid look, wouldn't they? We had Matt Letizia get how many caps? I don't even think he got double digits. What a footballer. Yeah, that guy was fucking brilliant. Yeah, I think he only played about 8 games for England. Something stupid. Yeah, pathetic. But he went for Stuart Pearce at left back instead of the Arsenal back 5 with Seaman and that. Didn't do it. And if he had, we probably would have won the World Cup. Yeah, we probably would have won it if we had had that back 5. Nothing against Stuart Pearce because he was quality. But I do think that you're right. All these managers, especially internationally, they always pick their favourites, mate.
Yeah, not only that. If you look, how can I say? If you look at the England teams in the past, in all these golden generations and all that, they always pick players like Gerrard, Lampard, and all that, just to shoe them all in, you know, rather than pick a team balanced.
Mm.
And that's
Mate,
what I think.
I watched England last night, and I see Mason Mount, and Chelsea fans, a lot of them don't particularly rate Mason Mount. Yeah, Mason Mount was easily the best player on the pitch yesterday for 45 minutes. Soon as we took Mason Mount off, and this is against San Marino, soon as we took Mason Mount off, we struggled. Yeah, Jesse Lingard did very well as well. He got man of the match, I think. But Mason Mount, if you ask Chelsea fans, a lot of them don't rate him. He is a fucking top-level footballer. Yeah, what that guy can do is insane. He can play in so many different positions as well. Like, he can play left forward. He can play number 10. He can play number 8. He's not very good at number 6, but he can play right forward. Yeah, but that guy's vision and passing, and knowing when to release a football, he is a top-tier footballer for me. Yeah, but you ask a Chelsea fan who watch him week in, week out, and they go, nah, he's Lampard's son, mate. No, don't rate him. Don't rate him. Yeah, I think he's fucking brilliant. Yeah, because he knows where he is on a football pitch at all times and who's around him. You can't buy that shit, man. Like, you've either got it or you ain't. And to know where you are on a football pitch at all times and where everyone is, not many players have that. He's got that. He's a quality footballer, man. And if he ain't a starting 11 player under Southgate at the Euros, then we're fucked.
Well, I think he's got big problems, Southgate, because I think he's got a lot. I think they've got a lot of top quality there now for the Euros. I make them amongst the favourites, but will he pick the right players? Will he pick the right system?
They're missing one thing, though. They're missing one thing, Claude. You look at all the players.
The only thing is the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper, maybe.
No. It's much worse. They're missing someone in midfield who can control possession and slow things down. You know, international football's about possession. It isn't about having players who can beat about 2 or 3 men or very exciting going forward. You need someone who can keep it ticking over. You know what I mean? Like, you know how Modric did. Remember Modric in the World Cup? Remember Modric in the World Cup for Croatia in that semi-final?
Well, Henderson do that.
How he kept it ticking over. Was that?
Didn't Henderson do that?
Not really. I think England needs to produce a player of international quality who can keep possession, but not just keep possession, but keep it ticking over, slow the game down, change the tempo. And I think England don't have that. They're not going to win. They're not going to win this tournament. What's that?
Like a Granit Xhaka.
Please do me a favour.
Hey, listen, we're gonna wrap this up. This has been mad. Hour and 10 minutes nearly as well, and a surprise guest out of nowhere, Jez. Big up to you, mate. Always love speaking.
Well, nice to see you, Jez.
And you,
nice to meet you, Jez.
Kenny.
Hey, Jez, can I ask you a question? Are you a boxing fan?
Me?
Yeah.
I couldn't box my way out of a paper bag, mate.
You should still be a fan, though.
No. Never been my thing, Kenny.
Oh,
really.
fair
I've
enough,
watched
fair
it,
enough.
but it's not really my.
I've only got Chig, wherever you are. Remember tomorrow, Dillian White is going to beat Povetkin convincingly, and he's going to get back and get the titles back, isn't he?
Beat up tomorrow, mate.
Do you know why?
Come on, Chig.
You know why he's going to win?
I'm with you.
You know why he's going to win? Because it'll be a third fight.
Probably will be. Yeah.
Do you know what? Povetkin's going to bang him out, mate. Trust me, it's happening.
This time, Povetkin won't get near him. It's going to be like a
Lee can barely say it. Never mind. You don't even know who Povetkin is. Don't mind. Don't even mind Lee. He has no idea who Povetkin is. He has no idea.
He's trying to wind us up, isn't he? He's trying to wind us up.
I do know who Povetkin is.
He has no idea.
He's a 40-year-old bum that put Dillian White on his fucking...
Dillian White's a top-class heavyweight boxer, and he's going to prove it tomorrow.
Lee read it on a phone alert. Don't worry about it, mate.
Dillian White is the fucking Mikel Arteta of boxing. Talks a good game and always gets banged out.
No, that's Derek Chisora.
Do you know what? I see Dillian White. I was actually at the fight. I see Dillian White get sparked out, man. Yeah, literally uppercut central, bro.
Oh, yeah. I was at the fight. Was it the Anthony Joshua fight?
Yeah, lights out.
Yeah,
see ya.
Since then, he's proved to be a top class heavyweight.
To be fair, he's worked his nuts off. I still don't rate him.
He's only lost
got
one fight
fighting.
to Povetkin and to AJ, and they were both the same way. Two devastating uppercuts.
Where was that fight then? You saw it. Where was it?
Anthony Joshua.
O2.
Yeah, it was at the O2. Yeah, fucking what a fight. Yeah, what a fight. Yeah,
it
was a good fight.
Amazing.
And the thing is,
guys, I know you want to make.
Sorry, Dillian White was holding his own, and then AJ just went bang. What an uppercut! It was like Patrick Truman, man. You know, like Patrick Truman.
Yes, I've seen him.
That's what White was doing, bro. Man was all like, he didn't have a fucking clue. But this is the thing.
Kenny, I was lucky enough many years ago when I was an apprentice at the gasworks in the Old Kent Road. There's a pub there called the Green Man, and above that was the boxing gym where Henry Cooper trained.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and we were in there having a pint one day. This is back in about 1978, 79, and he walked in there, and we had a pint with him, Henry Cooper. Yeah,
that's mad.
That was a
great fighter. Great fighter.
Yeah,
great
yeah.
Fighter.
I mean, I know nothing
great
about
fighter.
boxing.
Best heavyweights we ever produced.
Yeah, the Green Man pub. I don't know if it's still there, but that was had a lovely pie and mash shop next door. I always remember that.
There you go. And on that bombshell, we're going to wrap the stream up. I can't say as I've ever been that lucky to have a drink with a professional boxer.
I have.
Go on, who's your one?
The one, the Geordie one, the Newcastle man.
Glenn McClory.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, in the Newcastle Arsenal game, he was in the pub at the Bell across the road from the stadium, and we had a beer together. So he's a nice guy, man. Nice guy.
Quickly, Claude. Very quickly. Who did you meet when you went for a walk the other day?
Oh, Frank McClintock. Yeah. Yeah, that was brilliant. Cloverland's Park was in. And really, really nice guy. Really, really nice guy. Lovely guy.
Disappointed,
all the old ones are the loveliest guys. All the old ones, they're all very chat.
I'll tell you a story next time I ever get to chat with you boys. Lee knows it. A great occasion when I was a little kiddie. Met a great Arsenal goalkeeper. Came in had a kick about of us, and I'll tell you that another time when there's more time. But there you go.
Nice one. Now, big ups to everybody who's watched live. Make sure you subscribe to Chig, subscribe to Claude. Their links in the description of this video. Kenny Ken's Insta, no, it's Twitter. Sorry, is in the description.
And Insta.
It's Kenny Ken 1970. I'll put Insta in there, Kenny. Yeah, you're bigger than me. I ain't fucking about with you, mate. And it is a boxing weekend, mate. Can I just say very quickly, how comes the Norway team and this fight is happening in Gibraltar, but I can't fly anywhere? How is this allowed?
Bit of Italy. Bit of
They've been allowing
mate.
They've been allowing fans. They've been allowing fans over there as well.
Yeah.
500 fans.
Sorry about that,
Don't forget to put the clocks forward as well, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Saturday.
Before we go,
you lose an hour's sleep on Sunday.
Yeah. Before we go, there's BT Sport has got some boxing today, and tomorrow's BT Sport. And don't forget your pay-per-view. Dillian White is on a card. So is Teddy Cheeseman.
Or you can just get a Cody box and not pay for it.
Yeah,
I paid for it. I paid for it.
I'm on Virgin Media. I don't know how to get it on Virgin Media.
Right, let me just give you all the heads up before we wrap this stream up. Right, VIP League. Type it in to a Google search. You will get every stream for every single football match, boxing fight, everything you can imagine.
Even on a phone.
Yeah, you can do it on a phone. It's totally legal. VIP League.
All right.
Yeah, you'll be about a minute behind on everything. Yeah, what you do is you hit the play button. It's like a YouTube play button. You type in on the search bar what you want to watch. You have to type the full team name in if it's an Arsenal game. You have to type the full team in. You then see a play button. You click on it. It'll do a little countdown timer above that in orange. It'll count down from 9 to 0. You then click on the play button again. Bang, you're in. Yeah, I watched the Joshua Ruiz fight on that website. Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Oh, so,
but yeah, what time's the fight tomorrow before we go?
The fight.
About 9 o'clock.
No, it's about
the white fight will be about 10.
10:30. So
About 10:30 ring walk, yeah.
I know the whole event starts at 6, doesn't it?
Yeah, it'll be on Sky YouTube, and then it'll be on the main channels on Sky at 7:30. Anyway, guys, as I said,
Big up to all of you, man. Appreciate it. Big up to everybody in the chat. I'm done for the night. I'll be back again tomorrow. I've got the scouter. I've got the scouter coming on tomorrow. James Redmond. All right, mates. He's coming on.
All right, mates. Curtains.
All right, mates. All right, la. Yeah, he's coming on at 5 p.m. tomorrow, so I'm going to absolutely drill him on what's going wrong with Liverpool. And I'll be doing a stream probably about.
Don't go too far because we got them next week.
Yeah, maybe I should zip it. But big up to everybody in the chat. Stick a like on the video, and we're